Welcome everyone to the General Assembly of 2023. Today is March the 17th of 2024 and my name is Richard Hopf. I'm the current chairman of Skype 60 and with me is the general management team. Let's start the presentation. So first of all, we need to show the members list. Board members currently, it's me and Oliver as the treasurer, and ordinary members form the management team, basically the same as last year. The list of supporting members consists of stationers, developers, developer assistants and scientists. So everyone who contributed once to Skype 60 will be on that list basically. If you would not like to be on that list, just send us an email and we take you from the list. So we're still focused on the same goal as last year, which is to build a network of 150,000 stations, built and operated by citizens. That's why we develop hardware and software. We try to keep it as low cost as possible with highest measuring capabilities. So the same goal as last year. Before I go into the report, I have to make one point, which is the termination of the quorum. And yes, we have the people for the quorum, if needed, on board at the moment. It's Ida Samuelson, it's Christian Ambros, it's Oliver Coutinho, and it's Clemens Kordasch and myself. So to have that fixed, I go into the review of 2023 to give you an idea of what happened last year, and then we go over into reports of the treasurer and the controllers, and then we will go into an outlook of 2024. And we can add some more couple of minutes in the question and answers if need is. So a year in review. Discord, we have an increase of about 68% over 1 year, and it's about 100 weekly visits, which is a reduction of about 50%. Interestingly, we've got 11 new members per week, which is also a little decrease, and 57% from the US. So there's also a little, let's say, an increase in non-US. We are having 29 stationeers, people who are alpha and beta testers, who are about or have already set up their stations, and who are also, by doing so, being supporting members and having the right to attend the General Assembly. We have at the moment 30 patrons. Of course, it's a double, second year, as expected. The community is mostly active on Discord, so we have there a couple of channels, 12 dedicated purely to the community and to interact with last ideas, questions, presenting their ideas, all kind of discussions taking place there. We're still having the 26 remote research and development channels, which basically served in the first and a half years as a base for experimenting and finding out what technology and what direction we are heading to. At the moment, there are only, let's say, a handful of these are very active, because we now focusing, and I'm coming to that slide, to the first version. And voice channels. The development is more or less the same, using the same channels as last year. So we have Discord, Signal, GitHub, Autodesk and Google Drive as our repositories. We changed the weekly developer meetings from weekly to bi-weekly in August. So until August, we also recorded weekly meetings. There's a reason why we did this. We saw that this weekly meetings either was a too short interval for people to present the demonstrations. So it made a little bit of too much pressure on developers to always demo something new. Of course, it did not happen in the past that every week someone presented the same or new things, but to give it a more an elasticity, we decided to go for bi-weekly meetings. And as far as I could say now is it's perfectly fitting well everyone. We're not recording these meetings at the moment, because we just said let's go into the first versions that we can discuss with the beta testers on their experiences and having that on the record. So for now it's purely development of the core elements I'm going into in a second. So there's no recording at the moment. Yeah, we have 30 developers still listed, and still running the same teams. What happened in the last year in 2023? As you can see on the left and the bottom, there are a lot of text, and these are transcriptions of the recordings. And what you can see is that there was a lot of discussion about what method is best, what material is best, what kind of tools shall be used, and a lot of discussions about demoing and things that have to be developed, let's say. Because we stopped recording in September 2023, there's of course no transcription because there's no video. So, but there's still discussions, it's just not on record. So what you can see is here that the R&D phase we officially called off. We were about to call it off already 1 or 2 months before, but then the time in September we all said was right to stop this and to transform the development into a product. Let's say to take all the good ideas and the good demoing into a final product, which also brought a new schematic, a systematic, and I will show this in a second. So what we now are calling the platform phase is a project of Sky360. The lead is Ido. He calls the project Cyclop as an analogy to the old SkyCam, which is one eye. The platform phase is basically consolidating the core elements that are used. It shall be a robotic real-time system monitoring the skies 24/7. I said this very sloppy, so the real-time and robotic environment needs a lot of thinking, which went into in the last couple of months. So at the moment, Ido is in the state of being able to create NixOS platforms. We can do this on Orange Pi, exported at the moment in Orange Pi 5, 5.5 Plus, and NUC boards. So x86 based. Also, the real-time messaging, the ROS2 environment, is up and running and already configured into this image, and also in the OpenMCD service, which is used for the user interface. At the moment, especially Ido is working on the real-time data recording, and as far as please Ido jump in if I say something wrong. Yeah, around about 50% already done.
More like 90.
Oh, great! Good to hear. 90% already done. Okay, so soon I can.
Also, sensor integration is about 50%.
Cool. Okay. Good to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And one more important point to note is that in August 2023, we established the Scientific Advisory Board, consisting of 4 scientists and 3 liaisons. The head of the Scientific Advisory Board, the chairman at the moment, is Yannick Heusinger. All right, and yeah, one more important thing to this board is that they also meet, I think, once a month, and I think it's the last Saturday in the month, kind of. If you see this and hear this, and you are a scientist with a PhD in your particular field, you can contact him via here on Discord or send an email to science@sky360.org. And as I can tell for Yannick, that we are very happy to have new scientists on board. So, the year in review is the road to Aloha. Aloha will be our first version, as a welcome to the world, kind of. So, as you have seen in the timeline before, we had from October 21 up to September 23 the research and development phase with roughly 32 developers. Since October 23 up to more or less now, we're focusing on the core phase with Project Cyclop, and the dev lead is Ido, as I already said. The hardware is a little bit changed to the year before. We're still working with the ATX PSUs. We have now images for the Orange Pi 5, 5 Plus, and NUC boards. We're still focused for the all-sky cam on the QHY 183 cooled with the Mikey 3.5 fisheye optics. What changed is the storage. We recommend to go for at least 1 terabyte of an NVMe drive that fits nicely on the Orange and NUC boards. And also, basically, it's needed to have a GPS USB dongle on board. Maybe Ido, you can drop some words about software.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so software, we have base images for Pi 5, Pi 5 Plus, and NUC, running NixOS, ROS2 with the heartbeat service for now, which is really like a placeholder for the sensor integration. And then we run also OpenMCT, which is what we will use for our web user interface. It's very stable, it's been running for months. Again, not much around sensor integration, but that will be kind of the next step that we will be working towards.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the NIRR is actually the non-intrusive real-time recording, and the archiving that we are building. Again, it's the real-time recording is about 90% done. Archiving is still in prototyping, done with Aaron. Great job, by the way. And we're still reviewing the differences between C++ and Rust and the libraries, see where we get most performance. Right now it's look Rust. We get far better performance, but we are still evaluating what exactly the route we will take. So the design is still conceptual, and we try different prototyping with different libraries, and that will land once we finalize the sensor integration kind of architecture and design. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ido.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the software schematic is, as you can see, I do not go into many details. Ido, do you want to highlight anything? Or shall I jump to the next slide?
No, not really. This will be self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Again, we have the Orange Pi 5 that runs the GPS, the recorder, and obviously the fisheye and the backend for the user interface. Mm-hmm. Eventually, when we go and get more computes per sensor, We'll create the multi-sensor fusion that will create the situational awareness for everything to be synchronized. And we will build synchronization on 2 levels, both on the software level with ROS2 and on the hardware level using crystals and synchronizing the clocks. And again, think about it this way, like a crystal that you can buy in a simple, I don't know, like $2-3 cheap, that can give you like think about it like a heartbeat of about 400 kilohertz. That's more than enough resolution of what we need, right? So we can align, think about it, all the frames and all the data that we receive towards like time slots of 400,000 a second. So pretty good.
Yeah.
More than enough.
I would assume. Okay. Thank you, Alba, again. So a little bit about the hardware. As you can see, the QHY 183 cooled is still our working horse. We also have developed some 3D printables that Oliver printed. Thanks to Oliver for this. And yeah, so you see some 3D printables attached. And yeah, there's also the pen tilt focus that especially Christian is working on at the moment. The redesign during this year was done by Joe Weber, creating bent sheet metal to produce this instead of CNC cutting. Again, thank you very much, Joe, for doing this. We will soon, I hope, see a new redesign from Christian. Yeah, looking very much forward to it. So, this was the year in review. We are now going into financial statement of this year, and I would like Oliver to give us details.
Yeah, so hi everyone. So the fiscal year 2023 was more exciting than the year before because we had a very large one-time donation, and I think this enabled us to go ahead. But so let's have a look at the figures. We had 22,500 euros income, which is roughly not exactly, but roughly double the money from 2022. And then, as you can see, donations with 20,000 euros. This is really something. We have therefore one-time donations of roughly 14,000 euros, one donation, and we spent this money, as you see on the right side, for third-party hardware, Mikey lenses and Orange Pi 5s and QHYs, which are have been sent to developers to go on and to test, and this is still where they are. We have merchandising income of only 300 euros, which is significantly less than the year before. That has been roughly 2,000. And for this, for producing this t-shirts and so on, we had costs of roughly 240 euros, which means we leave with a surplus of 70 euros out of merchandising activities. For the enclosures, we spent less money than in 2022. In 2022, it was roughly 6,000 euros. Producing several, which are then sold which have been sold in 2021 already, and have been paid there and then delivered. And this explains why we have such high costs on the enclosure of roughly 8,000 euros. In these expenses, there's also redesign, retooling for the enclosure included. And we still had 4 in stock at the end of last year, and now we have, as of today, we have 2 enclosures left. Community costs with 2,200 euros, relatively high. Seems so. Roughly 1,000 euro was been paid back to me because I bought the Christmas gifts for 2022, and so this is the repayment for my expenses in 2022. So when we only look at 2023, it's roughly 1,100 or 1,200 euros cost for community, including Discord, sending around hard drives, and really stuff like that. Yeah, Discord is running costs always there every month, and yeah, then we had also expenses for maker fairs. We visited the maker fair in Vienna, and I was lucky to do this with Christian and Clemens. It was a lot of fun. And then also Germany's biggest maker fair in Hanover. So I attended with Christian there, and it was also a good time. So I can highly recommend go to a maker fair, make a Sky 360 booth, and it's always fun. And we will support you for this, of course. Then we had financial expenses of 115 euros only regarding to our bank account from Sparkasse. If we look at the whole expenses we have had for money transactions, there's another 120 euros to add from PayPal, which is in all the overviews and the sheets I download to finalize our balance, which are already deducted. So PayPal only, we work only with net figures because there's a lot of currency exchange which I put out because it's at the end of the day it's plus minus zero. Yeah. So we had roughly 240 euros on our money transaction costs. For administration, 150 euro. It was only one bill from our tax advisor. I will come back to this later. And then there has some extraordinary payment, which is from two perspectives extraordinary, because first of all it was a payment back to me, and I'm the treasurer, so that's not always usual, but it goes back to a loan I gave to the association in 2021, I think at the early beginning, or 2022, and it was interest free and repayable whenever possible. And so this was the case at the end of at the beginning of last year. So this loan was paid back to me, and happy that happened. It was of good use then. The bank statements as of 31st of December, PayPal roughly 3,000, Sparkasse, our bank account 740, and we still had no change on the MetaMask and Kraken accounts last year, so they are still the 100 euros roughly from the year before. And so we had a negative cash flow in the year of 4,700 euros. And this is mainly because of buying third-party hardware and investing and putting enclosures on stock. So that's this. Maybe, Richard, you can give us the next.
Yeah, but may I add something? Maybe you can add to when you talked about the Christmas gifts. I want to correct this. The Christmas gifts were gifts for developers, and what we did is we bought merchandise products and sent it to the developers, right?
Like caps and our T-shirts and so. So it was not from a third party. So it was just our stuff. Yeah, you're right.
So
and then
go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd like to hand over to Clemens, which is besides Christian, our controller, and we went through all the figures, so I can hand over to him.
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon or good morning, everybody. I want to thank you, Oliver, first for the great work and all the effort you put in the documentation of the financial flows, and also for guiding us through the numbers and figures of the past year. So I will keep it very, very short. In my role as controller of the association, I hereby want to confirm the correctness of the financial report and the proper handling of all the financials associated with the organization. Oliver has guided us through all the receipts and the exact amounts and all the financial flows. And again, I want to confirm the correctness and the proper handling of all the financial flows. And in the next step, or is there anything you want to mention, Christian, as
No,
the
I
other
totally
controller?
agree. We went over it together, and we found no flaws, nothing. It was a very great job that Oliver did and will do the next time again. And I thank Oliver for that too, and you for being a controller buddy to me. So yeah, it went all right.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. So, and in the next step, I would then ask the ordinary members to discharge the executive board. And I would start by asking, is there any resistance against discharging the board?
No.
Please. If no
From
resistance.
my side, no resistance.
Richard says no.
I don't.
Wonderful.
No resistance.
So I think I'm the last of the ordinary members here, so I have no problem with discharging myself. Yes, no resistance.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think that's it from my side. I have nothing to complain about regarding the financial report. So thank you very much. And I hand over to you again.
Yes, thank you. Maybe, Richard, we can see the next slide. Yeah, so this is the current financial status as of today. PayPal and Sparkasse sum up to 4,500 euros. Free cash as of today, not really free cash, sorry for that, but we have already an invoice and upcoming expenses from our tax advisor of over 1,000 euros for the years 2022 and 2023 for all the tax documents he handed over. As I mentioned, MetaMask Kraken, there has been no change. What I really like to see is our ongoing monthly basis. There's a monthly income of slightly over 500 euros each month. So thank you for all the Patreons, because we can cover all our running costs easily, as you can see. In the monthly expenses, there are our community costs included for GitHub, also GitHub Copilot, and money, so basic money transaction costs like costs for our bank account and one credit card we need from time to time. And so on. So as you can see, we are on a safe side, so we will not run into a situation where we have to cancel ongoing services for members just because we have no money. So this is really great. And as you have seen in the slides before, we spend more money on hardware than we received from this very generous one-time donation. So everything what is left over our monthly expenses will be invested again. Maybe in another Maker Faire visit, but for sure in the interest of this community here. And yeah, so that's all of it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. And thanks everyone who worked on this report. And I will then go over into the outlook of this and the next year. Maybe if you have been at the General Assembly of last year, you would see more or less the same lineup of sensors, of enclosure we're still working on, 3D printing, we're still redesigning and creating STLs. Software development is certainly something new here. The event management that we're still building based on ROS 2, the archive management, as I'd already explained, the tracker that is basically when an event is detected, is following this event and archiving it. One of the most important things we are heading to is the multi-sensor fusion, which only the real-time feature of our robotic station will give us. Then, of course, we work on the PTF control and guidance, which I said Christian is at the moment working on it, and we're very much looking forward to have the first results, the first experiments. And
I can jump into it if you like.
Go ahead.
For the PTF prototype, we switched. We were using, or we planned to use BTTS in the first place, and BTTS gets a new version 2.0, and that will make use of newer Teamsies like this one. Prepared it, and it has now an Ethernet connection, and plus the ordinary USB connection. So it's network reachable at the moment. We can skip the 3 Teensy version from BTTS 1.0. There we used 3 Teensy 3.2 because the newer ones 4.1 have much more power. They have a quad core inside, and and the frequency is more than 2 gigahertz. So we just need one of them. That reduces the cost of it. So we decided on going for a new version, and the integration will be in Rust. So that gives us 74% more performance out of it, and the amount of hardware that we have to use, especially the PCBs, are getting smaller. And on the side of the motion drivers, we decided going for the TMC 2209 because they can drive all the available stepper motors up to 80 volts and 30 amps, so we won't have a problem there. The ridging and the gearing will be different than we have it at the moment, because we decided to go for a more astronomical approach, because then we have already the world coordinate system in place, and we can easily compute interception courses out of the All-Sky-Cam and give it directly with a ramp for starting the motors and intercepting the event in the first place. We can calculate it very easily and give it through the Ethernet connection easily to the PTF. Weather protection, we have some improvements for that. We will redesign the dome that is surrounding it and giving it a heater. This comes from Astronomy 2 and is at least it's working for 30 years now, because it's used in astronomy for that time. We have some updates and some upgrades, and what's done at the moment is that the mounting for the small telescope is redesigned, and with the world coordinate system, in mind, and we found out that if it is attached to the enclosure, the wind at speeds above 40 to 60 kilometers per hour, they cause wobbling, and so we said, okay, if we redesign it and detach it from the housing, we will gain a lot of stillness in it, and that's where we are at the moment. So yeah, the building of the mount, the construction of the mount is taking place at the moment, and we will receive some results there shortly.
Okay, thank you very much, Christian. I'm looking very much forward to see your first results. So,
Me too.
Yeah, this is actually now coming to the end of our general assembly.
I would like to interrupt
Yeah.
and tell the audience something about the science advisory board that we built, because
Okay.
it's relatively new, and we have we started in September. We created it in August and started discussions in September. We took some time to find ourselves and see. We created a code of conduct. We took in the most recent scientists, and we started discussions about things. What of all kinds of things. The impact on society, if we find something that's pretty odd. But what we did too is we focused, I think it was this year in January, on the January meeting, we focused on finding some solutions for things that are presented on other channels, like the Skinwalker Ranch. And we said, okay, some videos are out there about UAPs that may have an impact on the atmosphere. And we said, okay, let's do a project about it and try to figure out what measurement can be done to clarify what an object is. And there we said, okay, these orbs, they come into two forms. One is a metallic object, and the other one is an illuminated bubble. And we said, okay, these could be the same thing with a force field. And to narrow it down, we said, okay, what is happening there could be that that switching on some kind of force field does something with the atmosphere, so the illumination could be caused by it. And normally, if you switch on a force field, or if it's done, it could be that ozone is created because of the ridging of the air with the force field. And this was our first real topic to discuss. And at the moment, we are onto this. We look up papers where known science is talking about such things, and we conducted some experiments that we could do. And we talked about where we can get already existing data to evaluate it. So yes, the Science Advisory Board is already gotten into work, and we are looking forward to the next meeting. So yeah, that started out great, and I'm very pleased that we did that with the Science Advisory Board, creating it. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
thanks to the people that are attending to that, and that's about that.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Thanks for this contribution. I forgot about going into details about the Science Advisory Board and how important it actually is for Sky 360, because basically the idea was that all data that is created by our system shall be verified first by scientists in let's say in our community before we give it open to the public scientists. But it turned out that there are so many questions around this topic that even the 4 scientists in meeting every month is we have to select the right projects, because there's so much we could do. And thanks again, Christian, for being also a part in this board. And I would again like to encourage all kind of scientists all scientists in all kind of fields to come in contact and talk with our board members. And certainly
especially the ones not from nature science, but the aspect of, if we find something out there that's very odd, how would it be affecting the society? This is a question that is, I think, overlooked all the time out there, and so we encourage scientists from all kinds of fields to contribute and to take part in the discussion and see what they can do for the question about UAPs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you very much, Christian. I think with these words, there's nothing more to add here. I stop recording.